Hello. Today is November 20th, I believe. Yep, it's still November 20th, 2021. Hope you're well. Um, so we're gonna do a second recording on human attachment, and because some thoughts came to me after that one that seem relevant, but weren't mentioned at all. Uh, so we're just gonna jump into it. Hope you guys are doing well. Um, and if you heard the last recording, I'm like, I'm okay. But anyway, um, so let's just get into this. The thought that came to me was that when it comes to human attachment, um, a big part of it is not feeling, how do we put this? This feeling of having to excuse the things that we think, say, or do, to rationalize the things that we think, say, or do, to justify the things that we think, say, or do, to make excuses, to look for approval regarding the things that we think, say, and do. Just basically, we put ourselves sometimes. This can happen. I think this happens often. I know it's happened with me, and I've seen it happen lots and lots. That's why we're doing this. What happens is, it's not like other people are snatching away my freedom, but that I am agreeing to give over some of my freedom in the things that I think, say, and do when I form attachments with other people. So it's we described in the first one the beauty of human relationship when certain boundaries are respected, and those type of things, when there is a mutual respect, and just generally it's a healthy thing. It can relationship between humans can be healthy, but all too often border lines are crossed, and certain freedoms are taken, and not without our permission. It's almost like this unwritten agreement that happens between people or groups of people, where it's like, okay, here, let's sign this contract together. We're going to do this thing, and with the understanding that if I kind of fall out of line with whatever the group is saying or thinking or doing, or with whatever you as another human being thinks, says, and does, I will adjust myself, or at least I will stop myself and think about what you would have me do. That's we can see the there's a word. I wish I could remember that word right now, but it's like a toxin enters into it. This it contaminates the thing, because if we slow this down now, in my life, in your life, you're moving along, hopefully naturally, being able to think and say and speak in a way that is in harmony with how you feel and what you truly believe, and not against that. That's natural, right? To do that. And that's balanced, and that is what is necessary to be a healthy human being, to have those things as in harmony as possible. Otherwise, we're contradicting ourselves. We talked about this in the recording having to do with resistance. So now if I have some other person or group of people in the mix, and like we said, we're going to slow it down. And now before I think anything or say anything or do anything, I got to run that through the filter. Well, that's interrupting nature. See? It's not even it's not only a matter of infringing on my rights or anything like that. Personally, it can have far reaching effects. And we can look at the state of the world right now and see that so many people are affected by this and what it's become. When you think about things like political correctness, what is political correctness? It's bullshit. And I'm not saying that the actual tenets are bad or wrong, but this idea that you're going to beat people over the head with the right way and you're going to beat the wrong way out of them and you're going to force people to conform to something that is politically correct. Politically correct in place of my own natural feeling. You say, that's that could be a can of worms, but whatever. That's how I feel. And it's nice to have the freedom to be able to speak and say how we feel without having to justify it. And that's what we're doing here right now. Like, yes, I understand it. And it even almost looks good on paper. Let's just have everybody agree that blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But guess what? Many of those people still don't internally go with they're not with it. They're not with the program. And a lot of people who even get online, tapping on their little keys, little hashtag, they don't believe it. You think everybody who's standing up for something, hey, guess what? You know what? The number of followers and number of likes I get, that's the name of the game right now. And, it's got it. Political correctness has given birth to these weird, hybrid, really scary things, these little monsters now, And then before you know it, if you go down in the comments section far enough, you'll see people fighting, like literally being nasty to each other over something that was supposed to be something else, right? Even on sites that are like so-called, awakening, enlightening, upbuilding, spiritual, blah, blah, blah. Soon enough, you're going to see some claws come out, right? But I digress. The thing is, when we are kind of shoved in a corner and said, okay, listen, you don't think for yourself. You don't speak for yourself. You don't move around this place for yourself. Look around. What is everybody else saying and thinking and doing? And blah. You do that. Fall in line. And at least where I live in the West, and nobody's putting a gun to our heads yet and saying these words, but we put the gun to our own heads, and metaphorically, hopefully, not really, but we do. We put ourselves in this position. It's like, well, I don't want to lose this person. I don't want to lose the favor of the group. I don't want to lose followers. I don't want blah, blah, blah. And then we just kind of cower, you say. But the same phenomena happens within human attachment relations like that. Like that's why attachment is so unhealthy, because now it's tit for tat. It becomes this measuring thing. It becomes again, this hybrid, just, I don't know what this creature is. I don't know what this thing is, but something that can start out very healthy and beneficial for people can turn into something that's not healthy and really works against us if what we're really wanting is freedom. Freedom to be able to express ourselves truthfully. And just, and then, I know people who, they're afraid to even leave comments on posts because, unfortunately, it's just like, you might have something true and good to share, or something true, let's just say that, in your experience and from your perspective, this is true, and you're going to share it. You don't mean any benevolence or whatever. You're just sharing. Boy, oh boy, if you don't sound like a parrot for what the group is all about, they will eat you alive. And I myself, I've had to just delete accounts. I'm like, I'm not down for this. Where if you don't fall in line, then you're going to be attacked. Yeah, I got better things to do with my life. See ya. But it's interesting though how this thing can morph. It's scary. It really is. Anyway, that's the thought that we wanted to share, is that, if we find ourselves having to mind our P's and Q's when we're talking to some other person, like, ooh, you gotta walk on eggshells, or you feel like you can't be honest. It's maybe time to revisit that relationship, or whatever that thing is that you guys got going. And it's not to say, if we don't have to be dogmatic about our opinions either. What we're talking about is being authentic. And then when we kind of, we water down the truth of how we feel, or what we're thinking, or our view on something, we water it way down to something that's almost unrecognizable anymore. That's the point where it's like, step back. Am I becoming someone else? For the sake of what? I'm becoming something else for what? For who? The only thing I have is my own existence, and I have the freedom to control my thoughts and my words and my actions. That's all I have in this place. And you want to take that away from me? What am I going to be? Anyway, so those were the thoughts we had. Again, human relationship is wonderful, beautiful, precious thing for those of us who can enjoy it. But it's such a slippery slope. And, even when it comes to marital relationships, I've been married, and, it's this, you still have two different individuals, you see, and they're trying to coexist, and it's really important to cooperate. But even in that kind of a relationship, seeing where someone's overstepping. And can someone overstep in a marriage? Of course, somebody can overstep. and make demands, and then of course, it takes two to tango. So, you might have the other person's like, you know what, it's not worth it. I'll just acquiesce again and again and again and again and again. And you're just standing there like in the middle of nowhere, like, I used to know who I was. I look in the mirror now and I don't even recognize that person. I don't know. I don't even know what my own thoughts are anymore. It doesn't have to be a marriage. Any relationship, any connections that we have to people, or ideals that makes us to start to feel that way. Maybe it's time to just step back and just look at it. We're not telling you what to do, but to at least honestly look and not, call it what it is. Again, going back to the resistance recordings that we did here. It's important to just see what is, no matter what the connection is with other people or another person. Could be siblings. That's a hard one. You grew up in the same house. You guys, went through the same, you're in the same environment, same parents, same this, same that. And then maybe you come to a point where, you have to step back again and say, is this healthy for me? And for the other person too. But I mean, they're in charge of their thing. We gotta look and say, parents, even our own children sometimes, adult children, when they have this saying called toxic. When relationships become toxic and they start to chip us away, chip away at us, that's the ugly side. Well, I don't know if there's not an ugly side to human attachment, but that's it's very, very difficult. It's very, very hard. But that's a whole other post, which we're not even going to try to do right now. But those are just some thoughts we had. So hopefully, give you something to think about. And as always, we want to wish you much love. Bye.